And welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Dose Podcast. I'm Dr. Joe Gambardella of Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab of Miami. I'm pleased to welcome two of my best friends, two experts in the field of regenerative medicine, weight loss, and anti-aging. We got Dr. Paul Constante out of Louisville, Ohio, and Dr. Buzz Korth out of Columbus, Ohio. Buckeye Physical Medicine and Rehab and Dynamic Rehab and Chiropractic. Paulie, is that did I say it right?
Dynamic medical chiropractic and rehab.
All right, what's going on, boys?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, today, listen, beginning of the year, we've had tons of patients that have been coming in over the last couple of weeks, as I'm sure you have, finding out, they want to know what to do to get in shape. Do they hit the gym first? Everybody wants to get in shape and get in shape fast. So with that comes all these different types of weight loss programs that are out there. I still have people, believe it or not, I had someone come in and ask me about the South Beach diet today. I have people talking about HCG, the Mediterranean diet, the paleo diet, the carnivore diet. There's so many different diets out there. The thing that we want to talk about, at least to start off our podcast today, is there's really a specific diet for everyone out there. The way that we find out what's going to work best for you to lose massive amounts of weight in a short period of time is pretty much by starting out with a simple blood panel. Paul, you up in Louisville have a pretty big weight loss program going right now. What's your flow when somebody comes in and they're challenged? They want to lose 10, 15, even 40 or 50 pounds.
First, we're trying to figure out, is it a true weight loss patient, so the patient just is concerned with losing weight, or do they have any other diseases that are tied onto it, such as fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, chronic fatigue syndrome? So those tougher patients actually move over into the functional medicine side of the weight loss, or they'll stay into the regular medical weight loss side. So we kind of look at the patient on what their main goal is and what is it tied to. Both types of weight loss, as you decrease your calorie intake, obviously you're going to decrease inflammation, but you just got to look at what type of program for what type of condition they're dealing with.
There's no cookie cutter, in other words, right, Paul?
Well, it's not really being as much as a cookie cutter as really having a practitioner that's willing to listen to the patient, and really the most important thing is to look at people's upstream habits. You can do all kinds of really expensive digestive testing and all these testings for the microbiome and the gut and all that, but the bottom line is if you're eating pizza and drinking dark beer, your gut's screwed up. So sometimes you're better off to just cleanse the body. I really have a big approach to cleansing. That's how I finally lost my weight. I lost 46 pounds in the program from just doing some cleansing and then following a specific diet and cutting out a lot of the bad habits, which is really big for our patients. So like I said, we have multiple different types of programs. Like our best patient so far in our HCG phentermine program, he lost 267 pounds in 14 months. He lost a whole body from 560 to 280. And that was just amazing. I mean, it changed the guy's life. And he came in to see us for regenerative medicine and stem cells in his knees. And his knees were completely destroyed from the weight. So the best thing we were able to do was, lose that much weight. So he was actually a candidate for knee replacements. So, weight loss all works, but what do people tend to do, or what do people like to do when they get off the weight loss program? They like to celebrate. And you can celebrate, but what are you celebrating with,
And I think a key thing you said there too, Paul, was, this guy came to you with his knees destroyed. People, on top of the comorbidities of being obese, heart disease, cancer, it's the wear and tear on your structure and your spine and especially the joints below the waist, right? Your hips and your knees and your ankles and your feet.
Oh my God, yes.
And people, obviously at our facilities, we do a lot of allografts that contain stem cells and, disc decompression procedures. But if someone's morbidly obese, losing weight is a center point of all those programs.
Yeah, we always tie that program in. We actually get the patient's goals. And what we found is the people that really will stick to every patient we put on and what we call an avoid and enjoy list, which is first thing you want to be able to do is look at the foods you can enjoy and then put on your refrigerator the foods that you need to avoid, because you got to get people to quit poisoning themselves. because the body will distort itself. It'll get sick. It'll create all kinds of pain. And a lot of times it's just reactions to their diet. And, they've figured out in Germany that one of the root causes of arthritis is actually a substance found in gluten, found in wheat. Wheat is one of the main causes, other than trauma, of arthritis. It is the biggest inflammatory for the body.
You know what?
And
To further what you just said, Paul, also, the importance of losing weight. Every pound of weight that is gained is the equivalent of 4 pounds of pressure crushing weight-bearing joints. When you lose 5 pounds, you may feel like, I feel better, but that's 20 pounds off of your back, 20 pounds off the discs, 20 pounds off of the meniscus and the hips. So it can't be overstated, the significance and the importance of this. Just to, list a couple of things: extreme thirst or hunger, feeling hungry even after a meal, increased or frequent urination, tingling down into the hands and feet, feeling much more tired than usual, frequent infections, and evidence in blood work. You know what all these things are? These are symptoms of insulin resistance. And as we mentioned, whether we're doing a detox program or a weight loss program, all of these markers, including hemoglobin A1C, are evident in blood work. That's what makes our program so unique and different, in that we evaluate people with blood work first to find out what diet is going to work best for them. Just to touch on a couple of markers, hemoglobin A1C, it's not part of a routine blood panel. Fasting blood glucose is part of a routine blood panel, but just like when we speak about testosterone, there's a range, right? The range goes anywhere from about 75 to 100. If someone has a fasting blood glucose of 90 or 95, they're in range and technically normal, but their pancreas is under a lot of stress. Fasting blood glucose should be somewhere between 75 and 80. And it's not the most reliable way to look at how the body's processing fats and sugars. We have another marker. We look at hemoglobin A1C. 5.6 or below says, you're consistent with a healthy metabolism, burning fats and sugars. The cells are sensitive to insulin and can pull sugar out of the blood. But when we start to see markers like 5.7, 5.8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the patient has a huge amount of stress on the pancreas, as I mentioned. Insulin is not being received, so the cells don't take sugar out of the blood, and all of a sudden we start to have this domino effect. Patient comes in with these symptoms, and whether it's a neuropathy patient, a disc patient, as you mentioned, one of the best things to do is get them on some kind of weight loss program first, or in addition to some of these other programs. Dr. Buzz, why don't you talk about some of the weight loss things that have been most successful in your practice? I know up in the central states, in Ohio, you have one of the largest weight loss programs going, really successful cases. Why don't you touch on that for us?
Yeah, and the cornerstone, once again, is the blood work, because everyone, you got to see what's going on. Do they have a thyroid problem? Are they a hormonal imbalance? Are they estrogen dominant? So there is no cookie cutter weight loss program. You can't just say, like South Beach diet, eat these foods and you'll be fine. It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So, everyone that comes in to do a complete blood panel on them, make sure thyroid's functioning properly, and make sure the hormones are balanced out, because if someone's estrogen dominant or low testosterone, they're going to have a really difficult time losing body fat. That's just the reality. And when you address these things, losing a pound a day is very real. We've all seen it in our practices, and I think the problem with the traditional diet is you lose maybe 2 pounds a week. But if there's a birthday party or something on the weekend and you cheat and you put that 2 pounds back on, most diets are pretty daunting. So giving patients the opportunity to lose 5 and even 10 pounds a week, number one, people notice it. So that's motivational, right? So when people see you the next week, man, what's different? Is your hair color, your glasses, you're losing weight? You know what I'm saying? That really is a motivating factor to get these people to lose the weight. The other big one I think that we all use is HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. This is a naturally occurring substance. Men and females both have it. Usually people have heard about it, though. When females are pregnant, they produce more HCG. That's how they do the pregnancy test, right? Don't worry, guys, you won't get pregnant if you take HCG. And females, you won't get pregnant either. But the reason females spike HCG during pregnancy is the priority is to feed the baby. So when the female becomes pregnant, she produces more HCG, which helps her burn body fat to feed the fetus, right? And the cool thing about HCG is it burns it from your deep fat stores. So wherever you usually burn fat from last is where you burn it from first when you're taking HCG. It's really amazing. So if you're a love handle person, the first thing that comes off is a love handle. So not only are you losing weight, the more significant thing, in my opinion, is it literally changes your shape. Have you experienced the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah, the body
yeah.
composition changes. You know, Doc, we had mentioned right before the show started, the HCG diet really became prominent or came to be known in the mid-'50s by Dr. Simeons, who was an endocrinologist over in Great Britain. And he was treating boys who hadn't fully developed. So these were 13, 14, 15-year-old boys that hadn't shown any signs of maturity or puberty yet. And he started treating them with HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, and you know, in extremely high doses or higher doses than are necessary for weight loss. You know, it increases the production of testosterone. In very small doses, however, it has no hormonal effect. But as you mentioned, Dr. Buzz, you know, it really helps the body rid itself of these really deep fat stores. What we found in our practice is that as opposed to other weight loss programs where you lose a significant amount of weight in a short period of time, it's almost like shrink wrap. You know, you're not left with saggy skin. You're not left with droopy skin as you are with other rapid weight loss programs, because you're actually burning fat for energy. Dr. Paul, you know, you'll touch on this, but when you're calorie deprived or you're what we call catabolic, the body is basically breaking itself down for energy. One of the easiest stores that it attacks first or utilizes first is the muscle, because you know there's a lot of protein, there's a lot of energy to nourish the body. We don't want that to happen. So HCG kind of tricks the body to accessing these really difficult to reach fat stores for energy, and you know the result is unclogged arteries. You start to see slimming of the face, weight, you know, love handles start to decrease. One of the big areas in our practice that you know women and men have been really happy about is the back fat and the arms and the thighs. You know, the big thighs. Blood panels change. Dr. Paul, you mentioned, you know, you started out with detox before you even got into your weight loss program. How much were you weighing?
I was around 310, and then I'm around 270.
Yeah, and you know, kind of like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Buzz, like you're in the prime of your life. Paul, we've known each other for such a long time. You've never looked or sounded better.
Well, yeah, and I'm just not full of toxins. And I got my brain back. That's the nicest thing. When you start, you know, 90% of your brain chemistry is actually made inside your small intestine. Mm-hmm. And then also 90% of your immune system's in your small intestine, the microvilli, and that should look like shag carpeting. Mm-hmm. But think about it this way: when you ever eat a grilled cheese sandwich, they're wonderful, but what happens to the pan? Do you see how nasty it is to clean that pan? Mm-hmm. Well, that coating and that plastic coating coats your intestines, but it also coats the cells in your body. So when that microvilli turns from shag carpeting into Berber, now all of a sudden your body doesn't absorb nutrients. So when you're eating food, it's going through your small intestines and it's not getting absorbed. So what does the pancreas have to do? It has to dump out massive amounts of enzymes and overload to handle that food that's moving through. You've heard of type 1 diabetes, right?
Yes.
Juvenile diabetes, and you've heard of type 2 diabetes, right? Mm-hmm. But have you heard the term yet of type 3 diabetes? Type 3 diabetes is diabetes of the brain, also known as Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at people that are getting old, people that are, you know, as people ever lose their focus and they start having trouble to concentrate, a lot of times that happens just from when the microbiome gets affected, because your brain chemistry, which comes through the gut, gets affected. So now the person's not only overweight, he can't think anymore. And what do they do with people here in America who can't think and can't focus? They give them antidepressants. And what do antidepressants do? Make them gain more weight. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's a balance of, and number two is the people that yo-yo on their diets, a lot of times they don't really address the gut. So everybody that does a weight loss program with us, we do some type of gut balancing. We give them some types of probiotics. And at a certain point too, like we'll start them on HCG, because the first 3 days of HCG, we tell the patients go out and eat the most fattening food, like a cheesy burrito with, you know, French fries, whatever, to get a big fat store in your body before you start HCG. Mm-hmm. So when they go into phase 2 off of HCG, and once they finish the phase 2 part of the program, we'll start another detox on them. So we like to detox the patient again between phase 2 and phase 3.
So let's talk about, you know, the patients kind of run through a flow for a patient. They've heard about us on the radio. They've seen our podcasts. You know, they've had a successful friend that's been to our office. They come in, get the blood work. Within 2-3 days, blood work's back. They come in, we find out if they want to lose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds. And let's talk about the basics of the program so everyone knows just how easy this is. We gave a lot of the science. Now let's talk about the practicality of it. So the program consists primarily of an appetite suppressant, right? It consists of lipotropics. How do we analyze, or how do we break down fat stores, use them for energy, and some form of caloric restriction initially. We touched a little bit, Buzz, on an eating window. We kind of incorporate that. But why don't you start us off? Patient walks into the office, got the blood work, they've been cleared, and we have our weight loss goal. Let's just say we want to lose 40 pounds in 3 months.
Yeah. Number one, we give them a nutrition plan to follow. And basically, the one thing I'll tell you, that the biggest complaint we get from patients is you are going to be eating a lot of food on this diet, but it's nutrient dense food, so it fills you up. So I don't want people to think that when they're on this diet, they're going to be starving, because you're not starving. Mm-hmm. But their nutrition will change. They're going to be on nutrient dense food, lean proteins, vegetables, things that are good for you, have lots of nutrients. And the appetite suppressant we use is phentermine. We all use that in our facilities. Phentermine's been around since the 70s and used very safely. It's often confused with, there was a drug called fen-phen that caused heart valve damage. And kind of the funny story in that is phentermine's been around safely since the 1970s. But when the patent ran out on it, just like so many other medications in the United States, Big Pharma will change one ingredient so they can repatent it and up the price. Mm-hmm. So that's where fen-phen came in. They took phentermine, which was highly effective, very safe, and added another medication to it that caused heart valve prolapse. So that product is off the market now. Phentermine's on the market. Phentermine's very inexpensive, and it kind of goes. HCG is the same thing. So we're talking about HCG, this literally this miracle that we use. HCG is 100% natural. Your body has HCG in it, male or female.
Yep, and
that's the problem with it, because Big Pharma doesn't like it, because when something's natural, you can't patent it. There's no money for Big Pharma to make an HCG, so you're never going to see a TV commercial for HCG. You're never going to see Big Pharma behind it. And if anything, there's going to be a big pushback from Big Pharma because they can't make money on it. And that's not being cynical. That's just the reality of our society. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with phentermine. You don't hear about phentermine, even though it's the safest and most effective appetite suppressant. You have all these other medications on the market that are still patented, and that's what they're pushing on people, and they're very expensive, and they're just not as effective.
So almost immediately when people start the program, you just mentioned the phentermine or the low-dose phentermine. Adipex is kind of what it, they'll pick it up at CVS or Walgreens at pennies. It's not an expensive prescription to fill. But those deep cravings, those nighttime cravings, the feeling like you want to eat immediately after you finish a meal, those go away really, really quickly. So one of the challenges 100%. People have is that they feel like, I can't get rid of these cravings. Well, that's gone. And then they start to focus more on the program, how they look, getting that positive feedback from others. Paul, what are a few other things that you include into the program to make it really successful, so people kind of stay the course?
So we also do in our office, we call it a fast track program. We'll combine phentermine with HCG, with the lipotropics, with the dietary plan, with the food journal, and then we have the patients come in once a week for their B12 or their MIC-B12 injections, and to meet with the weight loss counselor, so that once they meet with the counselor can keep them on track, because every now and then people will skip, or they actually get some support. And then we've also incorporated with it too is we got a couple natural products. One that actually helps balance out the brain chemistry. It's called Crave Control. And it's natural products, so we give them that with that, so that we can also keep the brain chemistry in check while they're doing the diet. Mm-hmm. That really works out very well too.
You hit on that. It's the accountability too. You actually, when you come in and you're getting positive reinforcement because you're looking good, you're feeling better. The once a week weigh-ins, but a lot of people may not know what MIC is or B12. B12 it's an essential nutrient. It helps prevent brain fog. It helps keep nerves healthy. It helps give lots of energy so you feel great. But what's the MIC? The MIC is a combination of amino acids, methionine, inositol, and L-choline. And the reason those work so well is because those are really strong detoxers of the liver. By taking stress off the pancreas and the liver, you're going to be able to take a lot more glucose out of the blood and bring it into the tissues where it's going to be used for energy. So over the course of this program, you're not just losing weight, but you're reprogramming the body to burn fat very, very efficiently. You're becoming sensitive to insulin again. So when you take these carbs in, instead of the sugar being stuck in the system and you're either not releasing enough insulin anymore, your body starts to release what it needs, takes a lot of the sugar out of the blood, brings it into the tissue, so it's available for energy. So, even though you're calorie deprived, tons of energy. Like you mentioned, the brain fog clears. You start to feel better and better. You know what also happens in our office? A person starts and they'll bring a family member or a friend in within the first 2 or 3 weeks because they're feeling so great. Do you guys have the same experience up there?
Yeah, a lot of times what will happen is a couple will come in and they'll let one be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
The husband
all
will
the
start
time.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we see that quite often. But I always recommend when people come in, it's just really something good to do as a couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're eating the same foods. The diet works every time. Kind of like that accountability. We know if a patient's not losing at least 5 pounds a week, they're cheating. It's simply impossible not to lose at least 5 pounds a week. More around 7 pounds is what we're seeing.
Or one of the big things too we found is that people that can't lose weight, because this is a lifestyle change program. That's what we call it, a lifestyle change. That if you don't teach a person to have a plate full of colorful food, so the color of the food actually makes you a colorful person, but mentally and physically. So by having people that will not eat vegetables, they will need, you got to look, the bottom line is any piece of food, if you think about it and you say, is this food going to clog me or is this food going to cleanse me? Because people will eat food that constantly clogs them up. Well, we're trying to teach people how to eat healthy foods, healthy meats, healthy things, so that their body is in a constant healing phase, so that you can constantly eat to heal yourself, not eat to get satisfied. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of our whole society's gone to.
You know what I want to also address is, these are medically supervised programs. When we prescribe the phentermine or when we're going to use the B12, it's an intramuscular injection. When we use the HCG, it's coming from a compounding pharmacy. Dr. Buzz, can you just touch on for a minute the HCG that we use that actually comes from a pharmacy versus HCG tinctures that you could buy over the counter at any drugstore or pharmacy?
Yeah, so at our facilities, we only use HCG from a compounding pharmacy, and compounding pharmacies are some of the tightest regulated pharmacies here in the U.S. So what you're getting is real. It's been tested, not once, but multiple times. So you're getting the most pure product. Now, I have seen out there some people you can buy over-the-counter oral HCG. You don't know what you're buying. That stuff's not regulated. And at the end of the day, really HCG is a hormone. Do you really want to be taking something that's not regulated? That's a hormone that could potentially have some adverse effects. So highly recommend, just same as the bioidentical hormones we use, they're only from compounding pharmacies. They're custom made for each patient. So that's the level of quality you're dealing with here.
Mm-hmm. Everyone listening out there they want to do something immediately, even before they do the blood work. We spoke about something that's been extremely effective kind of as a bridge to either get on this program or either when you're coming off, moving into a balanced lifestyle. Intermittent fasting. It's amazing. New studies, new research keep coming out daily about the effectiveness, how it's successfully being utilized, and they're seeing changes in cardiovascular health, less incidence of clogged arteries, longer lifespan. With high doses or elevated doses of vitamin D, we're seeing those changes. One of the best ways that someone can get onto this program, we don't even like to say fasting anymore. I think we're all on the same page, because you have an 8-hour, when we start out with this, we say the 16-8-5-2. What does that mean? It means you have an eating window of 8 hours. That's a pretty big span throughout the course of the day, where not necessarily eating anything you want, but as a good place to start, that's something you can easily bring into your lifestyle. You have an eating window of 8 hours, and then for 16 hours, you're letting your body burn fat for energy. Dr. Paul, do you utilize that up in the practice as well when you're bringing people on or off this program?
Well, it's what we're doing in our practice when we do our detoxification programs and our cleanses. They actually involve real fasting. So like I just finished last week a 5-day fast myself, where it was maple syrup and lemon juice or unsweetened cranberry juice. And you do a ratio with that with distilled water. And it was, liquids for 5 days straight with no solid food. And by day 3, your brain gets super clear, your energy levels go through the roof. and what you do is you get back your mental control over your body. So fasting is very, very important. And we also do 3-day fasts. We have people do that. We prep their bodies, for fasting, because there's another thing that we talk about with intermittent fasting is something called autophagia, where actually your body begins to eat the toxic debris and the toxic cells. There's types of T cells in your body that actually become inflammatory. These inflammatory cells inside the body will actually eat those first and eliminate them out of the body. And that's one of the reasons why fasting is so healing, because you have this cellular debris in your body that, it's kind of thinking like this. You ever go to sleep at night and you wake up feeling worse and all your joints hurt? Yep. Because that's basically your leaky gut is actually leaking proteins and undigested food into your circulatory system. And that settles in your joints at night when you sleep, and those inflammatory cells are there trying to attack them. So when you begin to fast and take that load off the body, now all your joints will start to feel better. So like we said, the best thing is get in touch with one of the 3 of our clinics and really understand, like we said, a program designed for you and your goals, but also a practitioner that's willing to listen to you, because certain people may not do what we recommend, but you guys, people out there, the public will do something. So you got to kind of meet patients where they're really willing to go.
Yeah. And
then show them some successes.
With intermittent fasting, there's definitely a couple of make or breaks that make it work extremely well or could send you off the tracks. When we come back after the break, Dr. Buzz is going to tell us the 2 most common mistakes that people make when they're doing intermittent fasting. And we'll be back right after this.
Repair your body, replace your key hormone levels, allow your body to regenerate itself without surgery or meds. When it comes to your health, the best plan is preventative. If you wait for symptoms to show, you could be too late. With over 40 years of combined clinical experience, all under one conveniently located state-of-the-art facility, Dr. Joe is on the leading edge of regenerative and physical medicine. Take control of your health and get a free consultation and evaluation. Visit us at apmrmiami.com or call 305-598-8788. 305-598-8788. 305-598-8788.
And we're back with Dr. Paul, Dr. Buzz. We're speaking about intermittent fasting, the successful benefits, how to lose weight really quickly, get in shape, not just for the summer, but in the next month. Dr. Buzz, a couple of things that people mistake that they can eat as part of the fast, or things that actually break the fast. If you've gone through your eating window of 8 hours, you're ready to move into the time where your body's going to utilize and break down tons of fat for energy. What are some of the most common mistakes people make that actually take their body out of fat burning and into fat storage?
Yeah, so we're going to keep it really simple. So the only thing you're allowed to eat or drink during your fast is water, green tea, black coffee, stevia, which is a sweetener. Now what you can't have is the pink packet, the blue packet, amino acids, diet soda or anything, no calorie sodas or drinks. You can't have any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. If you do that, you're ruining the fast. So to keep it simple, once again, green tea, water, black coffee, and if you need a little bit of sweetener, the only sweetener that you can do that will not break your fast is stevia. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, every patient that I've asked has answered me the same way, and I'm sure you guys will testify to this too. It's when I'm not eating is when I have the most energy and have the most mental clarity and get the most stuff done. Mm-hmm. And when you start eating again is when I actually start to slow down and you have the yawns and become more tired. So fasting is to some people becomes addictive because you feel so good when you're not eating. And we're so, in our society, somewhere along the line, we were told we had to eat every 2 or 3 hours, and we're eating all day long, and we're tired all day long. You get someone to fast, and you do it a couple of days in a row, they're going to be hooked every single time.
All of our offices, we do regenerative medicine, allograft-containing stem cells, bioidentical hormones, or some sort of a weight loss program. Paulie, when people are in Kentucky, they're driving, they're listening to this show, they're feeling tired, they're overweight, their knees hurt, they have low back pain, they have numb, tingly hands and feet. How do people find out where you are?
You go onto our website, dynamicmedrehab.com, or you can call 502-426-9200.
And same, Dr. Buzz, when they're listening to the podcast or they're driving around Ohio, they're in the Cleveland area, they're in Cincinnati, they're all around Grove City or Columbus, and same thing, they have back pain, neck pain, numbness and tingling, just low energy, it's bottomed out. They may even have lab work from their doctor where they said their testosterone was normal, but from our previous podcast, we realized normal and optimal are two different things. So they want to lose weight, they want to feel better. How do they find out more about you?
Yeah, really easy. Just go to our website, which is buckeyepmr.com. Buckeyepmr.com is the best way. All our services on there. Everything about the providers is on there. That's the best way to reach us.
So whether you are struggling with weight loss, you set a resolution to lose weight by the end of the month or the end of the year, there's only 3 places to go. In Louisville, Ohio, and here in Miami, Florida. We just had someone that flew in from Ecuador to see us today to get their knees and their lower back treated, and they're flying back tomorrow. So you don't have to be next door, you don't have to be a mile away or 10 miles away. People come from all over the country to see our facilities. We're going to be talking more in future episodes about how we save people from devastating surgeries. There was a new statistic that came out that I think it was 270,000 people last year alone died from sepsis. And sepsis, not from being outside, but from being inside of a hospital having a surgery that went way wrong. So, all of the things that we do are non-surgical. We enable the body to get healthy again because we stimulate the body in some way, shape, or form to get healthy again. We activate the body, make it a fat-burning machine, make joints healthier, whether it's by losing weight, introducing more cells, or helping them utilize oxygen in a much more efficient way. This is what we've dedicated our practices to. Dr. Paul, any parting thoughts?
The biggest thing is do not wait. Why do you have to feel bad? We live in a country where we consume 75% of the worldwide amount of drugs that are produced, and we're only 5% of the population. We have to get people off of drugs and get healthy, because you only got one body to go through life, and you might as well have a high quality of life. It's not the amount of time you live, more important as the quality of your life you have with the time.
Yep. A couple of stats in parting. Acute liver failure, stress on the liver from being insulin resistant, drinking too much, eating too much. All of these things put a tremendous amount of stress on the liver. The number one cause of acute liver failure consistently year in, year out is overuse of acetaminophen. It's an over-the-counter drug. When you want the body to become healthy again, when you want to find out how to get healthy, how to live to be 100, come see us here, APMR Miami. We're in South Florida, 305-598-8788. We got Buckeye Physical Medicine and Rehab up in Columbus, Ohio, and Dynamic Medical and Chiropractic up in Louisville. I'm Dr. Joe Gambardella with Healthy Dose. We're going to be back soon with Dr. Paul and Dr. Buzz talking about stem cells, joint health, and how to live to be 100. See you next time.